Hey Tiffany. Actually, it looks pretty good. I just like to show students a few things when I do these feedback things. So you already have a white background here. That's really good to turn on because then when you really zoom in, you can really kind of look at, the masks. And they really look pretty good. I mean, there's a little things you can smooth out through here, but this is you'll be refining these the whole rest of the class. But let's see what you have here. I think it looks pretty good. There's a couple of other things you can do to make it easier to move the caricature around. As I showed you earlier in with those examples, you're going to be adding a background and text. So what I like to do is put them all in a folder. So like as you can see here, I'm going to select each one of these layers, and then I'm going to click this layer group icon down here. It looks like a file, and I'm going to do that. And then what it does is it puts all your objects into one folder, so it's really easy to manipulate them and move them around. And if you want to work on them individually, you just open it up. So I mean, I always use groups for everything. I put all my text in a group, and then you could put like caricature, whatever, you can name it as you want. Another thing you can do is you can even make, you can even color them. And why this is important is that sometimes you're going to be working on a huge Photoshop file. It might have like 40 or 50 layers. So what I do is I like I'll have the text as certain colors, and then I'll have the the other related elements certain colors. So let's look at this. So one thing you could do, and I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller by just using the free transform tool. Let's see here. So as you know, if you hold shift down, it will constrain the proportions so they won't become distorted or stretched. So let's see what we have here. It's still a little bit big, I think, but well, it doesn't matter. Right now, really, because you think you're probably going to move it around so you have negative space to put text in, but we're just pretty much looking at the way the caricature is coming together. So a couple things I would do right off the bat is I might try to get a little bit of a side view for this object. You could also try to use something that wasn't as well. Actually, this has got rounded edges. It actually looks really pretty cool, but it would be good to see a little bit of a side of it. So another thing that I would do is I would really emphasize the use of perspective, which means what's in the front is bigger, just like why your back edge here is smaller. So let's find this one. So you can just make this bigger, and that's going to really make it look like it's coming forward. We can move the whole thing up as well too. So we can move that down. Oops. Sometimes it's good to like label the individual layers. Oops, wrong one. So again, we've kind of got this like this. You could do, you could try rotating stuff too. There's just a lot of different things you can do, with Photoshop to give it personality. And again, all of this obviously doesn't need to be done done right at the moment. You could emphasize the perspective with this too. You could go in and use the perspective transform tool. I'm going to make this body bigger because I think that it could be a little bit bigger just in relationships to some of the other objects. And things do not have to be to scale. So I'm just making this a little bit bigger just because I think that it's such a cool element that I think it'll really, it really could be bigger. So, and then I'm going to actually put this head on top of it so it's in front. And again, I would still work with this. Like I said, I would probably get another one with a side view. So I'm going to just rotate this a little bit because it just seems so horizontal. And this is really what you would be doing in a, in a design studio or with a client. That's too much, but I'm just going to leave it for now because I'm not going to, I'm not trying to change your whole thing. I'm just trying to give you some suggestions. With the body, you could also go up into Edit, and then you can pull down Transform, and you can pull up Perspective. And then this allows you to play with the perspective. So you can move this in if you want it to even look at more exaggerated, something like that. And with your objects too, then again, this one would be smaller, right? Because it's in the back, and you can, just try rotating stuff. It's really, it's just Command or Control T, and then you can just play with it. You can also flip the whole thing so it's going in the other direction. So, in a way to do that is just go Edit, Transform, and just say flip horizontal or flip vertical. So I'm going to flip horizontal. No, never mind. I don't like it that way. I'm going to do flip vertical. So then, if you wanted to, you could kind of start to, pull together some personality out of the, where's this other one here? There it is. And again, you have such nice images that you can really make them bigger and they don't lose resolution, which is really great. So I'm just going to make this one bigger too. And again, you could, anyway, I'm just trying to show you some different little techniques to, you could put this one underneath the body if you wanted to. But again, just kind of like showing you some possibilities. It might end up being that you want to, find other objects as well. That's very, typical for, for students to just add and subtract objects and so on. This might be a little bit big. Let me see here. I'm trying to. Let's see if I rotated this a little bit. So really, the point I'm trying to make with most of this is that Photoshop makes it so easy to scale and so easy to move stuff around that it's really kind of fun just to kind of like see what you can do. And you can, I don't know, if you want to make it look like it's... Anyway, there's just tons of stuff that, that you can do. And I think this is a little bit small. I'd probably make it a little bit bigger, actually. Another thing I do for workflow is, like, let's say right now I might go up and say Save As, and I might say Save As, March 7th, version 1. So if I add something else different to it, I still will have the same version intact. Another thing I like to do is I like to copy layers, because sometimes I don't want to really screw up a layer. But so what, like for example, I'll copy this one. I'm just going to drag it here. And then you can do other stuff with it too. So let's say this one. So let's say I use something like Edit, excuse me, Transform. So let's say you wanted to make, kind of a different kind of a, I'm just playing around with this. And this is, I'm just trying to encourage you to, do some of the same things where you're just playing around with, some of the different objects. I'm not sure that looks any, very good, but I'm just kind of trying to like see what, what else you can do with this, with some of these objects, because repetition is a really good way to create unity. Oh, see, I took the see. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. But again, this is, it's kind of funny. You can even go in later and change the color of this. I can show you how to do that later. I kind of like the idea of this too as, kind of a base, because it has the wheels. Okay, so anyway, I hope you found this useful. I'm just, again, just trying to play around with some of these things. You could even copy some of the, copy these layers and make them small and kind of have them come out of the top like it's kind of like not necessarily hair, but something like that I think would add a little bit of variety. I don't really like this down here at all, so I'm going to turn it off. Yeah, these wheels look a little bit, I don't know what to think about it. I wonder if it would look better without these. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of different ways to work with this. You can even copy these and put them someplace else too. So anyway, I hope you found this useful, and I think that you've done great for this assignment. Your masks look great. Your images are super high quality. So now the next weeks are just about refining. We'll be adding text. We will be adding a background. So anyway, I'm sorry to ramble on a little bit, but you have such a fun piece to work with. Okay.